would be cool. What if we made an API endpoint to get all of the posts, right? That will involve, it'll be an HTTP request, but it'll have to hook into Firestore, get all of the posts, and send them back as JSON. That seems like a good first attempt in this case. So let's give that a shot. We'll go back in index, and we'll do exports dot get all posts. That seems fine. And we'll do functions dot https dot on request, and that will get the request and response objects. I'm going to warn you now, I don't expect to make this mistake, but back when I wrote a lot of Express, I would have this mystifying bug where nothing would work because I'd get the request and response objects mixed up. Especially back then I used like res and rec, and never worked. So someone's got to be on the lookout for that. So let's go ahead and we'll get the snapshot. Now I set the engine to node 8, so I should be able to make this an async request. If not, we can write promises. So we'll do snapshots and we'll do await. So I need to pull in this admin library, right? And admin is simply going to be const admin equals require Firebase admin. This is a version of Firebase that has all of the superpowers that the admin console has. You can just use this. You don't have to use this with Cloud Functions. You can use this just like as a script that you run from your computer. Like, oh, I need to like change a bunch of data because I've changed the way comments are formatted. You can run it. Should you do that, you need to go to the console and like get the secret key pair, like the actual secret one, not the one that we had that we just put in our client-side code, and then you could run those scripts. If you're running a Lambda function, you're already running on Google's infrastructure, and they know who you are. So you don't necessarily need to get those keys if you're doing it in a Cloud function. So we'll say admin. So before we said Firebase initialize app, here we'll say admin.initialize app, and we'll say functions.config. This is where it's getting that secret key from. This will be passed in by the environment when it's running on Google servers. So if you were to run this like just on your own computer, this is not a thing that you're going to get anything back from. But when it's running on Google servers, that will be populated with your secret key pair and stuff like that. Cool. And so we'll actually say const Firestore, very much like we were doing before. It was like admin.firestore. I can call that admin thing Firebase if I really wanted to. We do need to do the const settings. We'll do firestore.settings. That was that warning we got in the very beginning of this. Cool, so now I should be able to do firestore.collection posts.get. And with that, we'll say const posts equals snapshots.map, snapshots.docs.map. This is if we wanted the IDs on there. We don't necessarily have to. We could just send them back. Say ID is doc.id. Single snapshot. And we'll just do a response.json. It's effectively the same API as Express. So a response.json sends a response with the format application JSON. Cool. And then what we'll do is we'll just deploy that. And up we go. Yep, using node 8 now, so I can do async await. You do have to opt into that with that engines thing in the package.json. Otherwise, you will get node 6. I understand that node 10 is out, and node 11 is the edge version, and that node 12 is en route. I don't make the rules here. I just tell you that node 6 is the default, even though it was I think it's end of life at this point. But anyway, all right, look. So now we are deploying we're updating Hello World. There's not a lot to update there. and we are creating get all posts. Those are both going up. While that happens, let's go ahead and let's go to the Firebase console. Let's check out functions. All right, here are my two functions. You can see them. You view the logs and their health. The logs are really interesting. They're good for debugging, right? And so, especially for the ones that are triggered, like, oh, it should have been responding to a document change. Nothing happened. You can see, like, did it fire at all? Did it blow up? Right? So you can see function execute started, getting yelled at about billing, and that it was okay, and it finished with a status code of 200. These are obviously more interesting when they don't work. Logs that everything went okay are not particularly interesting, but you can also see like the different log levels. You can see errors and infos, search them, so on and so forth. Cool. I was hoping that would make it smaller for me, or so I can click on it, but nope. Let's do the get all posts and see how it goes. Takes a little bit the first time. We'll be talking about this during a question earlier, where there is a kind of a cold start. If I do it again, it's much faster. Like, it is spinning up a virtual machine somewhere. And so here you can see these are all of the fun posts that are in the database sent as JSON. So now we have an API for our application. So just because Firebase is great for front-end engineers to have a backend really easily, but what if I need a backend? You can have a backend. It's fine. Just make a backend, deploy it to other people's servers, and you're good to go.